You know what's frustrating? Having these massive dreams, planning out your future success in your head, but then spending another night scrolling through Netflix. We've all been there. That moment when you're lying in bed, questioning why you watched 3 hours of random shows instead of working on that business idea you're so excited about. And here's the thing, you're not alone. There's actually a hidden reason why so many ambitious people like you keep falling into this trap, and it's not what you think. Your phone becomes incredibly interesting. Your room suddenly needs cleaning, or that new show just can't wait. And the craziest part? The more ambitious your dreams are, the harder it seems to get started. And what if I told you this has nothing to do with laziness? There's something completely different going on in your brain, something that explains why you can be incredibly ambitious and still struggle to take action. Here's what fascinates me. Let me tell you about Alex. He was this brilliant programmer I met at a tech meetup in Austin. Guy had incredible ideas, the kind that could revolutionize app development. Every time we'd grab coffee, he'd light up talking about his vision for this groundbreaking app. The weird part? 3 years later, he was still talking about the same idea, still hadn't written a single line of code. One day, I asked him what was holding him back. His answer hit home. I keep waiting for that perfect moment when I'll feel ready. Man, did that sound familiar. It was exactly what I was doing with my own projects. But here's where it gets interesting. This same guy who couldn't start his dream project would spend entire weekends mastering obscure programming languages just for fun. Someone who lacked motivation could pull 12-hour stretches learning random tech skills that weren't even related to his big dream. That's when it hit me. What we call laziness isn't really laziness at all. There's something much deeper going on here. What I discovered next transformed not just my understanding, but my entire approach to getting things done. It's not another productivity hack or morning routine. It's deeper than that. It's about understanding a fundamental law of human behavior that nobody talks about. The real key comes down to one powerful force: inertia. You know how a heavy boulder is hardest to move at first, but once it's rolling, it's almost impossible to stop? That's exactly how your brain works with tasks and goals. Here's what happened with Alex. One night, after another coffee meetup where he talked about his app for hours, I suggested something ridiculous. Just open your laptop and write one line of code. That's it. One line. He laughed, but he did it. You know what happened next? That one line turned into a basic prototype. 3 months later, he had a working version of his app. Think about the last time you needed to clean your room. The thought of tackling the whole mess felt overwhelming, right? But here's what's fascinating. Once you finally started, you probably found yourself thinking, this isn't nearly as bad as I imagined. That's because starting is always the hardest part. Instead of fighting this law of nature, we can actually use it to our advantage. Let me show you how. First, we need to understand that willpower and motivation are like trying to push that boulder uphill. They'll eventually run out. Instead, here's what actually works. Making the first step ridiculously small. I'm talking embarrassingly small. Want to write a book? Don't start with, I need to write for 2 hours. Start with, I'll write 1 sentence. Want to get in shape? Forget about the 1-hour workout. Just put on your gym shoes. Now, here's where most people get it wrong. They think this small start is too insignificant to matter. But watch this. When you make that tiny start, something magical happens in your brain. Once you're in motion, staying in motion becomes natural. It's like Netflix's autoplay feature. The hardest part is choosing the first episode, but once you're watching, continuing feels effortless. Remember Alex? After that one line of code, he told me something interesting. The hardest part wasn't learning to code. It was opening the laptop. Once he got past that tiny first step, his natural curiosity took over. The same passion that made him spend weekends learning random programming languages kicked in for his actual dream project. But here's the really crucial part that most people miss. You don't need to fight the inertia at all. Instead of struggling with big bursts of motivation, all you need to do is make that first step so small, it feels almost laughable. Think about this. When you feel guilty about being lazy, what happens? You try to compensate by setting even bigger goals, making even grander plans. I'll write for 3 hours straight. I'll clean the entire house today. But that just makes the boulder even heavier, the resistance even stronger. The real secret is to make starting so easy that your brain doesn't even register it as a task. When the first step is truly tiny, You bypass that mental resistance completely. And once you're in motion, even just a little bit, staying in motion becomes natural. Just ask Alex. His one line of code turned into a full app that's now helping thousands of people. So here's my challenge to you. After watching this video, pick one thing you've been putting off. Just one. Now make it so small it feels ridiculous. I'm talking 30 seconds small. Maybe it's opening that document you need to work on, or putting on those running shoes. That's it. Do just that tiny thing and watch what happens next. I'm genuinely curious. What's that one small step you're going to take today? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if this resonated with you, if you finally understood why you've been stuck, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes, all we need is that one perspective shift to change everything. If you want more insights like this that actually change how you think and act, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I share game-changing perspectives every week. Remember, you're not lazy, you're just trying to start too big. Make it tiny, make it ridiculous, and watch how that boulder starts rolling. See you in the next one.